Next is Sasria.
Sasria, yeah, this is an interesting one because we've all seen what happens with riots and those kind of things a month or so ago. So yeah, let's talk about Sasria.
Sasria is an abbreviation for the South African Special Risks Insurance Institute. So what's important to remember here is under your standard policy wording, there is a pertinent exclusion for any type of riot or strike. So your standard insurance contract will not cover you should your house be damaged during a riot or a strike, should your vehicle be damaged during a riot or a strike, or any item you have insured. Very, very important to remember. You can only claim from Sasria for an item that's already insured on a short-term insurance policy. So if your household contents or building is not insured, then you do not have Sasria cover. You have to insure the item first, and by virtue of that, a portion of the premium you pay is allocated towards Sasria.
Okay, so you can't phone up because of what's happened in South Africa. You can't phone up the insurance company and say, listen, I just want to take out a policy for Sasria.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah. So.
In South Africa also, whenever you take out household contents or building insurance, Sasria is automatically included. Some insurance companies also automatically include it for when you take out a vehicle, but confirm this with your insurance company. So let's get to what is a special risk. We've alluded to it, riots and strikes. A couple of months ago, South Africa went through this bad patch where people were running around, throwing rocks, looting vehicles, looting shopping centers. Those things are not covered by your standard insurance. It's covered by Sasria. Sasria is an insurance arm of the government. So it's administered by the government. It actually belongs to them. But it's a separate part which is registered as an insurance company. So how do you claim from Sasria then? The process is usually rather seamless. You would institute a claim through your insurance company, and they would handle the claim on your behalf with Sasria. So you do not have to now all of a sudden phone up a separate company and go through a separate different claims process. Your insurance company and your financial advisor facilitates this whole process for you to make life much easier. So if you're involved in rioting, if you're involved in a strike and an item gets damaged or stolen or lost, that's where you would be able to claim from. Very, 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 very important. It only covers you if you are not a party to the riot or the strike.
So if you're busy rioting and somebody else throws a stone and it misses whoever they aimed it at and hits your car, you don't have a claim.
Correct. The same thing applies to using something in your possession in the act of a crime. If you, for instance, use your vehicle to rob a bank and now you're fleeing the police,
you get
into an accident, it's not covered by your insurance. It's not covered by Sasria. It's not covered at all.
Yeah. So when does it actually become a riot? Or does normal protest action and those kind of things also fall under Sasria? So, I mean, we've all seen the riots and the mass destruction and everything. But if you drive past an informal settlement and they are busy with a protest action and there's rocks in the road and you hit one and your car gets damaged, does that also fall under Sasria, or does it have to be a certain scale of riot or something before it goes over to Sasria?
It's very difficult to determine, and that's why it's handled by the insurance company, because there's two layers to this whole concept of an item you own or an item in your care being damaged. The first one would be malicious damage. So malicious damage is defined as somebody who on purpose damages your vehicle, for instance. Let's stick with vehicle, it's easier to understand.
Yeah.
So your
ex-girlfriend keys your car
or throws a rock at your car, or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
That would be considered malicious damage. So somebody who purposefully damaged your vehicle. The same thing applies to driving past an informal settlement, driving on the highway, and somebody just throws a rock at your car.
Yes.
Which is also unfortunately a reality. We get a lot of cases where people drive past bridges and somebody just drops something from the bridge, either with the intention of a hijacking or just to damage and destroy property.
Yes.
So the scale of a riot is any time it's defined as this is a strike, these are people rioting, these are people in the process of protesting some or other event. So usually if there is a group of people, it would be deemed a event that's covered by Sasria instead of malicious damage. Again, you approach your insurance company, they look at it, look at your insurance contract, deem whether it's malicious damage or not. If it's not malicious damage, they then refer it to Sasria and you're covered in that eventuality.
Okay, the last thing before we go on to your music break, when you do claim from Sasria, so you are in a riot, your car gets set ablaze or set alight and it burns out, so it's a total loss. Are you guaranteed that a claim through Sasria will give you a full payout? Or can the insurance company say, well, Sasria didn't have enough money, so they're only paying 50% of all claims, so there you go, your car's worth 400,000, sorry, we only pay 200,000. Or does the insurance company cover the difference? So there's a couple of questions in there, let me try and specify. So the first one is, will Sasria pay 100% of the claim? That's the first thing. The second thing is, if they don't, will the insurance company actually top up that claim if it gets to that?
Your contract with Sasria is an extension of your insurance contract. So as long as it's an insured event, it's something that is covered, they are obliged to cover you for your financial loss.
Total loss.
For your actual financial loss. Remember, we pointed out that Sasria is in itself a registered financial services provider. It's an insurance company. So they also make use of reinsurers. That means the chance of them not having money, rather slim. That said, we do stay in South Africa, so...
And it is still a state-owned enterprise.
Correct, correct, unfortunately. So, depending on how your insurance company works and how it operates, it can follow one of two routes. Number one, it can say, we will pay your claim and claim back from Sasria. So that in that event, your insurance company is actually the person paying and they just claim it back from Sasria.
Yes.
Option number two, and this happens with smaller insurance companies would refer the claim directly to Sasria and then you have to wait.
Because Sasria pays them so that they can pay you.
Totally correct. Okay. Unfortunately, this process takes very, very long. It is still a bureaucracy. That needs to happen.
So you actually hope that you don't get into that situation. So that's one of the benefits of having a bigger, more reputable insurance company than a smaller cheapie.
Correct. Last thing we have to touch on there is the whole idea of a government saying that this is a state of disaster, because that is the final layer in having cover for these types of things. A state of disaster would be massive floods, for instance, a war, civil unrest in a very large scale.
Okay.
If a government declares a state of disaster, then the insurance company will not pay your claim, Sasria will not pay your claim, you have to claim directly through the government, and they will then reimburse you for any losses suffered.
Yeah, that can take a while.
Yes, it does.
I think your grandchildren's grandchildren might have a claim.